Cool beans, cool beans. All right. Yes, I have an interesting one for you tonight. You know, everyone is really kind of paying attention to, what the FBI did to President Trump. Many people are paying attention to it. Some people don't care one way or another. I mean, there are people out there like that. They don't care that what was happening to our country. They really don't care until they'll care when it hits them at their doorstep. But right now, there's still some people that don't even care right now. So I have some stuff that I want to share with you tonight that's actually going to prove how the left, again, how they're lying. Let me ask you a question. When you receive information, regardless of where you receive it from, do you just automatically believe it, or do you go look it up yourself? Or do you, look at reliable locations, reliable sources? So I would consider Fox News to be reliable. I don't consider MSDNC and the Communist News Network, I don't consider them reliable at all. And the main reason being is because they've been caught in a lie over and over and over and over again. I don't think there's ever been a time where they haven't been lying. And I'm going to show it to you tonight. I'm going to show you tonight how they're literally lying. And it's basically all because of this FBI picture that they released showing top secret. Well, of course, I have some clips for you, and I'm going to go to Sean Hannity, where he's talking about the FBI and what they've been doing here. And the whistleblowers, along with these whistleblowers, originally it was 14 whistleblowers that came out with the FBI. 14. Now it's been reported, allegedly there's 20 FBI agents that are now whistleblowers. Isn't that what we want? If there's corruption going on, don't you want people to tell it so that way we can root out the corruption? That's why I'm constantly saying that I know there has to be good men and women within the FBI. There has to be, right? Listen to what Sean Hannity says here about the FBI and about how they're trying to shut down anybody that's in the FBI that wants to be a whistleblower. Let me real quick before I go to that, while you're hitting the share button for me. When I used to work IT, every single year, they would make us do this ethnic training, right? Basically, like if you have a boss that did something and is completely corrupt and you saw it, you should be able to go to your boss's supervisor without any retaliation, right? Or if you go to your boss first and your boss still continues to do it, say, hey, I don't think this is right. And then your boss starts retaliating against you. That's not right. That's what's happening here. They're retaliating against these agents that are whistleblowers because they don't want the truth to get out there. Listen to what Hannity says.
Of the agency and needs to resign. According to the Washington Times report, these whistleblower claims include allegations of bias, even being forced to sign false affidavits. And according to my sources tonight, who I spoke to within the last hour, that are directly involved with the whistleblowers, there are now at least 20 confirmed whistleblowers that have come forward. And according to their attorney, quote, I'm hearing from FBI personnel that they feel like the director has lost control of the Bureau. He said they are saying, how does this guy survive? He's leaving. He's got to leave. Now, also breaking tonight, a new memo from the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and his office. They're sending a stern reminder this night to staff about policies that limit contact with members of Congress. By the way, that would mean FBI members talking to members of Congress as whistleblowers.
You hear this? Now, this is so important. It is extremely important because what the AG is doing goes against ethnics. I'm telling you, you cannot, if you have corruption going on, you have to let that out. You have to let that information out.
So this letter, obviously a convenient reminder from the Attorney General of the United States. So the question is he trying to silence these whistleblowers? Because it certainly looks like it at this hour. Now, it also looks like they're trying to pressure these whistleblowers. But what? Democrats, they only like hearsay whistleblowers, not real whistleblowers?
Democrats like whistleblowers if they're whistleblowing against conservatives, Republicans, MAGA Republicans. That's the only time that they care for any whistleblowers. And then they're okay with leaking information. If it looked like it's going to hurt those on the right, they're okay with it. They're perfectly fine with it.
That sounds like intimidation directly from the AG's office. And the AG and the FBI director need to encourage whistleblowers, not silence them, not intimidate them. This sounds like a veiled threat. Let me remind you of the policy about talking to Congress or what? Or else what? You get fired for identifying corruption and abuse of power when they should be applauded if it's true. Now, all of this comes following a major report last night where top FBI agent Tim Tebow was reportedly escorted out of the Washington field office on Friday by 2 or 3 other agents accused of, quote, political bias in handling the investigation of Hunter Biden's computer laptop. And now Tebow, through his lawyer, is now pushing back against the report among growing scrutiny of his conduct. And while Joe Biden claims to care about law and order, while he continues to completely ignore this two-tiered system of justice, the blatant political bias and corruption inside the FBI, the DOJ, his FBI, his DOJ. Take a look.
I'm opposed to defunding the police. I'm also opposed to defunding the FBI.
Because it's midterm election time. That's the only reason why he's saying it out loud.
Look, there's no greater responsibility for government than ensuring the safety of our people.
You hear this?
When Hunter's home gets raided, I hope he feels the same way. Of the agency.
Well, let's hope that Hunter home, but anyway, Hunter's home should have been raided when they first got the laptop, when they found out all that corrupt information was on there. It should have been vetted then. They should have raided his home then. But they didn't do that because they were protecting Joe Brandon. They were protecting him. They didn't want that information to get out. Okay, so I told you that the left, they take information and they twist it up. You remember, because think about this. Remember when Adam Pencil-Neck Schiff had the transcript, the one from President Trump to Ukraine, and he said he was doing a parody on it? Basically, he was lying on everything that he was reading. It was unbelievable what he was saying. It was like, wow, this is like terrible. This is really terrible. This is really bad. It's the same thing that they're doing here after the picture the FBI leaked out to the media because they want to convict President Trump in the public square. That's what it is. But I want y'all to listen, because on the documents from the picture that I'm pretty sure most of y'all have already seen it, on there it says top secret, right? But listen, I want y'all to listen to what the Communist News Network, and again, I don't ever think they're credible because they constantly lie. The Communist News Network is not credible because they constantly lie. They got caught in lie over and over again. Listen to this.
We've gone through these pages now, as have I. There's something which isn't here. What isn't here in this filing?
And they're talking about there's no stamp that says declassified. That's what they're talking about here. Listen.
An argument about the declassification of these documents, which of course is what the former president's team and his allies on cable news have been arguing, that he declassified all the documents he took with them. But that photo that he is complaining about that was included in the Justice Department's filing last night, it was a notable photo just because it sought to really showcase in an image what was taken from Mar-a-Lago, what was kept at Mar-a-Lago despite these efforts to get it back. But also, none of the documents in the...
You hear this? Despite these efforts to get it back. She's lying. President Trump said, whatever it is that you need, back in June, take whatever it is that you need. He was completely open with that. Not a single time that President Trump pushed back on anything. These documents were already declassified because they knew the documents were there. And you know what? Even in the subpoena, I'm going to show it to you. They talk about In a subpoena, you're supposed to know exactly what you're going to look for. This is just a broad opening that they were looking for anything that they can find.
The photos say the word declassified on the front of them. The word declassified, from what I can see, is also not appearing in this filing that we're getting from Trump's team tonight. Maybe they'll use it tomorrow in court when they're talking about trying to get this special master. We don't see it so far. And John,
now you hear that one. Now let's go someplace where it's a little bit more reliable. Right? Now I want y'all to hear this, because President Trump, when he was president, when he was in the White House, he can declassify anything. So they're basically saying because President Trump didn't put a stamp on it, right? Because he didn't put a stamp on it means it wasn't declassified. He can declassify anything. He could, because he was the sitting president. And they're using this because they want people, the American people, not to know, expecting American people not to know the difference. Now, I just played that for you. Listen to this.
The Biden Justice Department and the FBI has a pretty bad track record as it relates to President Trump. We've seen that they have weaponized, they have politicized law enforcement repeatedly to get Trump. This was an unprecedented, unnecessary, unlawful home raid on a former president. The whole legal basis for the raid has been blown apart. They went after Trump. They said he may have violated the Espionage Act. That's not even possible. As the commander-in-chief, he can declassify anything he wants. They say he may have stole or misused government property under the Presidential Records Act and other statutes. That's just not possible. There's a 2012 a decision by an Obama judge that former presidents can take personal records with them when they leave office. So there goes the obstruction allegations. It's legally impossible to obstruct non-crimes like they're trying to investigate here. There's a track record of lying in this case.
You hear this? There's a track record of lying in this case. Like CNN, the Communist News Network, they have a track record for lying. And they're calling it out. People are seeing it. But the line left because they hate Trump so much, they're terrified of the man returning so bad that they're willing to do anything and everything, regardless if it's factual or not. They're willing to do whatever it takes. How did Shucky Ducky Schumer say it? Nothing is off the table. Nothing is off the table. They are the left. They are lying. This is so bizarre, is it not?
Leaked out that Attorney General Merrick Garland did not personally approve this raid. That's a lie. They leaked out that Trump had nuclear documents at Mar-a-Lago. That's a lie.
Yeah, you remember they kept saying President Trump had nuclear codes. He had nuclear codes. It was a lie. And listen, again, do y'all think the Communist News Network is credible, or do you find Fox News to be more credible? I'm going with Fox News. And it's not because they're saying what I want to hear, because the Communist News Network, they have a track record for lying. All of the left, they have a track record for lying.
Leaked out that President Biden and the Biden White House did not have a heads up about this raid. That's a lie. President Biden had to waive President Trump's executive privilege in order to pave the way for this raid. I think Judge Cannon understands that yet Attorney General Merrick Garland said he deliberated for weeks to make this decision. Well, okay, so Trump had these documents for 18 months. The Attorney General had to deliberate for weeks, and they waited 3 days after they got a warrant from this biased magistrate judge, Bruce Reinhart, who just recused in Trump's civil lawsuit 8 weeks ago. Somehow his bias went away. If Trump had such damning records down there, why did they wait so long? Why did they wait to go get these documents?
Exactly. Why did they wait so long? If he had nuclear codes, that's been one of the questions everybody's been asking. If he had these nuclear codes, then what took them so long, right? If it's that much of a threat, right? Let me play this one for you. This one is with, if I can pull it up here. This one here, again, this is with make sure I'm on the right one here. Yeah. Listen to this one, because Sean Hannity, he lays it out and talking about the 7th floor, which a lot of the left, they don't like the fact that they're talking about the 7th floor, and they call this an attack on democracy. They call it an attack on law enforcement, when the corruption is happening at an alarming rate.
Here on this program, we want to be very clear. We condemn all threats and all attacks on law enforcement, not when it's just politically convenient. As a matter of fact, on this program, for the rank and file, the 95, 98, 99%, we are very grateful for all the good FBI agents and employees that risk their lives to keep us safe. We support them. Now, but the FBI is not immune from oversight, and they're not immune from criticism, and they're not immune from having bad apples or being called out for massive agency-wide failures and the failures inside, especially the upper echelon of the FBI. Now, also breaking tonight, we're now learning that amid growing scrutiny of the FBI and the DOJ, that the department is now banning political appointees from partisan events. But I'm sorry, that just isn't good enough, FBI Director Wray and Attorney General Garland. Now, they have done a disservice. Director Wray knew there were problems with the upper echelon of the FBI. When he took over, he should have taken what should be the world's premier law enforcement agency, and he should have cleaned up the politics in the FBI. He didn't do it. And now things are worse with Merrick Garland, because he seems to be weaponizing the DOJ, the Biden DOJ, and getting away with everything has now led to more politics or politicizing of the FBI, which, by the way, I predicted would happen many times on this program if we didn't hold the people that abused FISA warrants and used Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for dossier and lied to a FISA court judges not once but 4 times to spy on a presidential candidate and a president. Or as the Wall Street Journal editorial board pointed out, why is there one standard for Hillary Clinton and one standard for Donald Trump? Remember, this is now a DOJ that appears hell-bent on finding anything they can use against the 45th president. We saw that in the warrant and the raid at Mar-a-Lago. But it is the same organization that let Hillary Clinton off the hook for mishandling a ton of top-secret classified materials on unsecured private servers, because even Jim Comey acknowledged crimes were committed, but no reasonable prosecutor, he said, would bring a case. The same people that let her get away with clear obstruction of justice. She deleted 33,000 emails. Remember, we learned about...
You remember that? The 33,000 emails? You remember that? And a lot of those, some of those were so classified that members of Congress couldn't even see it. They were so classified. And they all looked the other way. And you have to ask yourself, why are they looking the other way? Let me share this one with you, because this one really brings it to home. This was Congressman Gomer. Listen to what he says about this fraudulent act that the FBI has done. It's unconstitutional. They're literally breaking the law, and they all look the other way because, like I'm always telling y'all, they don't care about the Constitution. They never have. They never will.
Here's my concern. The Department of Justice puts out this picture, right? It seems like they want to litigate their case in the press in regard to Donald Trump. You and I both know that if there is a document that has a marking that says it's classified, doesn't mean that it's classified if someone has declassified it, like the president, or if a document doesn't have a classification marking on it, doesn't mean it's not classified. We saw that with Hillary Clinton's server. What do you think about what the DOJ is doing here with this picture and their argument on classifications?
See, there's the picture. There's the picture right there, right? And again, I want y'all to listen, because the FBI, when they had the subpoena, when they went in to look for documents that that President Trump was supposedly keeping from them, right? In the subpoena, it lists out what they're looking for. But they went in there looking for anything, and they took everything. That's why they took his passports, right? And they took his passports to make it look like that he was a flight risk. That's the only reason why they did that. You mean to tell me that these FBI agents aren't smart enough to know how to read a subpoena and see that the passports are not on the subpoena? Someone please explain that one to me. Because the subpoena is like a checklist. They purposely go in for X, Y, Z. But ABC was not on there. But they took ABC as well.
Well, you make great points. You always did, and I do miss our conversations in the cloakroom, Sean. But look, there has never in history been a time when a president with authority to declassify documents did so and the DOJ and the intel community, unelected bureaucrats, refused to acknowledge and accept the declassification. And further, you refer to my days as a judge. I mean, I was a felony judge. I signed a lot of warrants. I turned some down because they didn't do what the Fourth Amendment required. You have to describe in the affidavit and in the application.
Listen to this. Listen to this, because this is so important. And this is not what happened. They were in there fishing.
With particularity, specifically what areas to be searched and what is to be seized. They didn't bother to identify specific documents because they were on a witch hunt. They were out to try to hurt the Republican Party in this midterm. This has never been done. And if they had had a fair-minded judge, he would have said, well, what specifically are you searching for? Well, we're looking for anything that might be classified. Well, how do you know he has them? What specifically? None of that happened. And the Constitution requires it, because if the judge doesn't do his...
You hear that? You hear this? You hear this? The Constitution requires it. This is so important. This is what the left is leaving out. Why? Because they don't like the Constitution. I don't know how many times I have to tell people for people to believe it. They despise the U.S. Constitution. And listen to what he's saying. He's laying it out. Now, again, do y'all believe Gomer, Fox News, or do you believe MSDNC or the Communist News Network?
Well, how do you know he has them? What specifically? None of that happened. And the Constitution requires it, because if the judge doesn't do his job, then you can have unelected bureaucrats at the DOJ and Intel, as we've seen, who want to hurt a president, a former president, and so they misrepresent things. We know that's been done by the DOJ and Intel, and the judge didn't do his job.
The judge didn't do his job because the judge hates Trump as well. The judge is trying to take out President Trump as well. We all see it. We all see it. It's happening right before our very eyes. And these people do not care about the facts. They do not care about the truth. They hate him. And they hate us as Americans. I mean, come on. There's only one reason why this corruption is at this level right now. And there's only one reason why they're looking the other way when it comes to it. Right? Because they're drunk on their power. They're drunk on it. They're like fiends. They're like vampires when it comes to that. They don't want to let it go. They see President Trump coming back in and reversing and making America great again, when their whole goal is to tear down this nation. You see it. The crazy thing is, you don't need me to tell you. You see it. I'm just confirming what you're seeing and what you know to be true. I'm just confirming it. That's it. You already see it. That's how you know it's true. Look at this one here. This is with Karine Jean-Pierre, and she's trying to act like they're not the ones causing the division. It's everybody else. Because you know how they said that the MAGA Republicans are fascists? You remember that? You remember that? Listen to what she says. Someone asked her the question about causing this division, but she's deflecting like they're not the ones doing it.
They're also facing some criticism, which has been brought up, that this aggressive tone is also stoking the divisiveness that he's trying to heal. Any concerns about that?
You know, the president's never going to shy away from calling out what he sees.
He's never going to shy away from calling out what he sees? Does anyone else find that disturbing? He's never going to shy away from calling out what he sees? Okay, so my question is, and I've asked this multiple times, and no one in the press corps is asking this question. Can you give us some examples to confirm what you're saying? Would somebody please say that? If y'all know Peter Ducey, I hope he goes in there and asks the question. Maybe he has, and I've just missed it. Look at this one. This one here, she's talking about us being extreme when they completely forget about them being extreme.
And again, we see majority of Americans who disagree. And so when you are not with where majority of Americans are, then, that is extreme. That is an extreme way of thinking.
That is an extreme way of thinking. Okay, so what does the majority of America want? I think the majority of America want children to survive. I think they do. They would like for us to believe that they don't want children to survive. The majority of children don't want to survive. I'm willing to bet majority of the nation don't want crime. But look what's happening. The crime is going through the roof. The crime, every single night I come on here, there's a new instance where crime has taken place in one of these democrat cities or states. Every single night now. And it's just a growing natural thing. And the liberal media refuse to talk about it for some reason. They want to talk about Mar-a-Lago. They want to talk about President Trump. President Trump lives rent-free in their head, which I've heard that expression multiple times. He literally does. Every single day. The man's not even in the White House, and look what they've still been doing. They're still doing this to President Trump. They're still talking about President Trump every single day. There's not a day gone by where they have not talked about President Trump. Wow. I mean, when was the last? I don't even really, do they ever talk about Obama? Do they ever talk about Bush? Right? Obama was the last one. How much did they talk about Obama? Really? Even when President Trump was in the White House, when did they talk much about Obama? No, they didn't. Not like they did. Not like they do Trump. Not like they did Trump. These people, the left, they created all of this chaos that we're seeing. I've said it multiple times. The left has created all of this chaos that we have seen. And they even support people who create the chaos. To give you one prime example, and if you're in Pennsylvania, please share this video right now with people that you know in Pennsylvania. Because he's asked to have a debate with Oz. Now, again, let me tell you, I really don't, Oz is not like, Oz, go Oz. I'm not really like that with Oz, but compared to this dude here, Oz is, the best choice by far. Oz has asked him 5 times now that I'm aware of to have a debate. And he's saying that he won't debate Oz because Oz doesn't have anything, valuable to debate on. There's a lot. What my question is, and this is the reason why I'm asking people in Pennsylvania to share this video. So then if Oz doesn't have anything credible or anything valid to debate on, then why don't you go on stage and do that? Show everyone that you have what needs to be said. But he's not going to do that.
You turned down Dr. Oz's invitation to debate. What made you come to that decision? And do you think you'll debate him before the election?
Oh, again, as I just said, this is just a sad approach at this point because they are trying to not focus on the condition of their campaign right now. And when they want to get into a serious conversation and really talk about having a debate, I'd be happy to engage in.
You hear that? When he wants to get into a serious debate, then he'll be happy to engage. Then he'll be happy to engage. Am I missing something? If you won't you go on stage and show him how it's supposed to be done? Well, the reason why he doesn't want to is because the crime in that city has gone through the roof, and it's because of him. The crime rate is so bad. And again, he's ignoring it. Listen to this report here.
More than 30 shell casings littered the school parking lot after a triple shooting at Francis Willard in Kensington, just hours before students arrived for their 3rd day back to school.
I think it's a disgrace. Can you imagine how these children are feeling? They're going back to school and they have to see all this.
Neighbors, too fearful to identify themselves on camera, say they woke up to the sound of gunfire around 1 a.m.
I was in the military, so I know what gunshots sound like. So I instantly just heard like 20 shots back to back to back. It sounded like there was some return fire.
A 20-year-old woman and 2 young men, ages 17 and 20, were shot. All 3 are stable. A parked car was riddled with bullets, and some of them even hit the school.
Thank God no one, was hurt when that round went into the school building. It absolutely would have been tragic. We could woulda, coulda, shoulda all day. Any shooting is tragic, and we're just doing what we can to get ahead of these shootings.
They want to do what they can to get ahead of these shootings. But again, it's the Democrat policy. The Democrat policy is the reason why all this stuff is happening. Now, of course, we have gun violence and crime in red states. Of course. No one is denying that. But the level of violence that is happening in these blue states and cities is taking the cake. People are trying to flee from these cities because of all the violence. People are getting tired of it. And then, of course, again, the reason why I wanted you to share this video in Pennsylvania so that people there can know what kind of decision they're about to make for their state. We don't need, this is, if he becomes a congressman, he's going to take this same ideology to Congress. We already have enough Nancy Pelosi's there. We already have enough Chuck Schumers, enough Adam Kissingers. We already have enough of those. We don't need any more. Listen to what he says here.
As chair of the Board of Pardons, I'm proud to say that, my administration has conferred more second chances than every administration in Pennsylvania history combined.
Basically, what he's saying that they have let out hardened criminals, hardcore criminals. That's what he just said. And that's exactly what they've done. People that have committed murder, drug dealers, rapists, he let them out so they can have a second chance on killing people in the population. That's what his second chance is. You can't make this stuff up. That's exactly what his second chance is. So if you know someone in Pennsylvania, please, y'all got to tell them, do not allow this man to get any further. He's avoiding Oz. And again, I'm not like real big on Oz, but daggum, this dude is a problem. He's 100% problem. And the violence, this is part of the violence that he supports. Listen.
Stood at the top of the sidewalk and the glass was totally shattered. There was probably an opening large enough for a person to walk right through.
The spree began early Wednesday morning with a rock through the window of Angela's Cafe. Stepping through the broken glass, cook Richard Krause discovered the cash drawer was gone.
Well, I think that was the trial run.
And then last night?
And then last night was a more adventurous.
This morning, a half dozen other businesses, including Dina Ellen's, The Barcode, and Maureen Staley's Picket Fence Boutique, made the exact same discovery when they came to work.
And the front door glass was shattered all over the sidewalk in the store. I saw this on the floor of the store with some other merchandise sort of thrown about. The computer was thrown down, and I realized they had taken the cash drawer.
The thief hit the store Kauai as well and can be seen doing it on this video, hurling a rock through the door and entering the store. He can be seen hitting other stores as well, but the video may be of limited value to investigators because he's so well disguised with a hoodie.
And of course, this goes on, and they're more concerned, and this is not just, in Pennsylvania, LA, Compton, it's just not in these blue states and cities, right? It's happening all across America. This is Biden's America. This is Biden's America, and this is what they've been pushing for. And again, the reason I keep repeating this, the reason why they're doing this is because they want America to be last. They want America to be last. Just like the economy. They're lying to all of us saying that the economy is on a rebound. The economy is getting better, right? Have y'all heard that? I mean, and what the 3-month gas thing that they did, that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's about to run out, right? Where they supposedly brought down the gas, but they were blaming Putin,
Russia,
for the gas. So how are they able to bring the gas down if Putin is controlling the gas price? They kept saying that over and over, but here, Karine Jean-Pierre is saying that the economy is bouncing back. It's more steady. Where is she getting this information from? Again, they're lying to everybody and expecting all of you to believe it.
But again, we're in a transition into a more stable and steady growth. We won't.
A more steady growth? Again, where's she getting it from? You know where she's getting it from? She's getting it from her tablet. Her pad there. She's getting it from there. Someone wrote it down for her and say this and say this. Because if it's not there, I have to get back to you. You know, before it was, you know, Jen Psaki was, we'll circle back around. She's, I have to get back to you. I have to get back to, or no, it's not that I get back to you. I don't have anything for you on that. I don't have anything for you. She don't have anything on anything. In our economy, we're literally tied up with the big bankers. Now, I want to share something with you that a lot of people, you're probably aware of this, but just to hear it really kind of brings it to home. The big bankers, right? This is all about the socialism that they're doing in this country. Communism, socialism, the big bankers all tied in together. That's the reason why they want to move us all to digital currency, so they can control everything. They want to be able to control every dollar that you make, and they want to know what you spend it on. They've already, without even getting full on with digital currency, they've already shut down people's PayPal accounts. They shut down people's with the GoFundMe. They shut down anything when you're conservative. But these tyrannical, demonic people on the left, they don't shut them down. Listen to this. This will clear a lot of it up for you.
And that's the big one.
That's what I wrote about in Capitalist Manifesto. It's this book here, the Central Bank of the United States was founded in 1913. Guess what else was founded in 1913? Tax Department.
The Federal Reserve and the IRS.
Yep. And so when you look at all this, and then if you read Marx, he says that a progressive income tax is necessary for the spread of communism. And
you hear that? The IRS was created then at the same time. And now it's starting to settle in for a lot of people on why they have 87,000 armed agents in the IRS. Listen to this. This is deep.
And when they cut off the Keystone XL pipeline, inflation went through the roof. Now the poor are already poor, but when you raise inflation, the price of fuel, the middle class got poor. And now when I shop, I look around and I go, the retailers, they're on sale. Everything's on sale. I can't help myself. Money, I'm having a great time. But I feel for the retailers right now because the customers are going broke. So is the intent evil?
In the Communist Manifesto, number 5, he had 10 points. Number 5 was the creation of a central bank.
Right.
So central banks are part of Marxism.
Of course.
That's the whole goal.
Yeah. And that's what I wrote in my manifesto. The central bank is communism.
Mm-hmm.
The central bank is communism.
Controlled economy. Yeah. The American system, not Americans, most people are completely uninformed.
Most people are, and that's so true. Most people don't know. The central bank is communism, right? And when you think about it, how they're trying to push us to this digital currency, it explains it completely. It's like, oh, it clicks in. Now it's understandable. Now we understand. Now we see it. And it took this much for people to get to this point for people to actually understand it. And a lot of people, again, they know them like, oh yeah, we know the cabal, and they know the elitists and the WEF and the United Nations. They're all working together, right? And Joe Biden did this semiconductor chip bill. I don't think it's just for computers in a car or computers in a phone. I think they're going to go beyond. And with the 87,000 IRS agents, how many millionaires, because they say they're going after these millionaires and billionaires, how many millionaires and billionaires are there in America? I think there's like less than 400 billionaires. So how many agents do they need? They're coming for us. And again, let me say this one more time. That 87,000 agents that they hired to come after us and every nickel and dime, don't you think they could have taken that money and protected our children throughout the schools in the nation? But they didn't want to do that. Talking about schools. I hope I don't get in trouble for playing this one. I'm not saying one thing or another about it, but I think it's important because I want y'all to listen to this. And some of y'all probably going to drop off because you can't stand looking at this demonic woman. But you need to look and pay attention, because the information that comes out of this is very important. Because if you're contemplating about your child being in school, maybe watch this video might help you to make that decision, because they've lied to us. If you're wanting to start another business, watching this video may help you decide about starting that business, what you're going to do when they want to implement the tyranny again. Listen to this.
The National Assessment of Educational Progress has this new testing that shows that 9-year-olds lost ground in both math and reading in pretty dramatic ways as a result of the pandemic. What is the president going to do about it? What is the administration going to do about this severe learning loss? And does the administration shoulder any blame for not pushing schools to reopen sooner?
So let's step back to where we were not too long ago.
So y'all heard the question. Now listen to what she's saying, because everything she's about to say is 100% lie.
When this president walked into this administration, how mismanaged the pandemic, the response to the pandemic was, how 47% of schools were in less than 6 months. Our schools went from 46% to open to nearly all of them being open to full time. That was the work of this president, and that was the work.
Let me remind y'all something. Who was it that wanted to keep the schools closed? While she's mouthing off, this mouth breather, who was it that wanted to keep the schools closed? Who was upset with Ron DeSantis for keeping the schools open? I'm just asking the question here. Do y'all remember, or did everybody grow amnesia? Listen to what she's saying, because this infuriated me when I heard this. I said, she's literally lying. Who wanted to keep the schools closed? And now they're talking about the kids are more dumb today because they didn't go to school. This is the agenda.
China.
This is the agenda. Listen to this. You're gonna. If this don't make your blood boil, then you're not alive.
Of Democrats, in spite of Republicans not voting for the American Rescue Plan, which $130 billion went to school to have the ventilation, to be able to have the tutoring and the teachers, and being able to hire more teachers. And that was because of the work that this administration did. We were in a place where, again, schools were not open. The economy was shut down.
Who did that? I mean, I'm asking because maybe I got amnesia. Maybe I hit my head too hard falling out the bed this morning. Maybe that's what it is. Who was it that wanted to keep the schools closed? I mean, someone please enlighten me. I mean, the blatant lying here is remarkable. Just blatantly lying. And then it's like no one is challenging her and say, you know what, if I was in there, just be, to be polite about it, I'm saying, okay, you're not being completely honest here. Because my question, so who was it that wanted to shut down the schools? Who wanted to keep them closed? Who wanted to shut down businesses? Can you look at California? California is a prime example of how the Democrats wanted to do the rest of the nation. They love what was happening in California, and they hated what was happening in Florida. They hated it. They hated. And look at Florida. Look at the school situation in Florida. Right? It's a lot better. And then she had the nerve to say that they did this bill. Biden signed this thing so that the teachers, they have more teachers. Well, teachers aren't working. You can't even, doctors aren't even working. And they try to say that, well, the teachers aren't working because they can't sexualize the kids, right? Because many teachers came out and said, well, if I can't sexualize, they didn't say that part, but they're basically saying, if I can't sexualize the kids, then I'm not going to be a teacher. But listen to this.
Businesses were shut down. And what we have seen is, we've seen the numbers, but I think that's what we see. That's how we saw it. It shows you how mismanaged the pandemic was and how the impact of that mismanagement had on on kids' progress and academic well-being.
You can't make this stuff up. When I first saw that, I was like, this woman is insane. This woman is truly insane. And like, I really can't stand it. And I apologize again for showing her to you. But y'all have to see this information. You need to know that they're spewing out these lies so we can make informed decisions. That's what we need to do. We need to be able to make informed decisions. That's my only thing here. I'm not telling people what they should do or how they should do it, but please use the brain cells that God gave you. Right? That's all it is. It's common sense stuff here. Here's another one with her, but this is common sense, right? Why not help out and make more energy in America? Why have us become dependent on other nations like
China?
Right? Why do that? Listen to this. There's a reporter. Some of these reporters are starting to actually ask some questions. I think it's probably a little too late. They should have thought about this before they helped Biden. Listen.
Promises. Candidate Biden said he would end fossil fuels industry. Then he went back and said that he's not going to end all fossil fuels. We've seen increased regulations and restrictions in that industry. Pennsylvania is the third largest coal producer in the United States. In the past year, we've only seen about 1,600 jobs in net added to mining and lodging in that state. So why not just change the energy policies, help out Pennsylvania with jobs?
Yeah, why not change it and help Pennsylvania with jobs? Because they don't want people to actually have jobs. They want to say that they created them when they actually didn't, but they don't want people to have jobs.
And energy security.
Look, we just passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which is going to change people's lives and is the most historic investment that we'll see, that we have seen in this country.
What happened to the question? What happened to the question? That's not anything he was asking. And they're not doing that. They're wanting to shut down drilling. That's their whole goal here. They want to shut it down. They don't want you to see it. They don't want you to see it. I've constantly said that they're coming after us. And I constantly tell people, because we're Christians, they see us as a threat. They really do. If I can, I'm going to share one more thing with you before I say thank you to a couple people here. And I think it's really important that I share this. Okay? I'm going to share this with you. I have to make an adjustment here real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. Because I want to show this to you. I just want to show you this one comment. I have to blur this person's name out. You know, I put a comment on Facebook saying that you cannot be a true Christian and a Democrat. And a lot of people got upset with me. Got upset, got angry with me. Mad. To the point. And I'm like, I consider myself a Christian. Now, do I consider myself to be perfect? Absolutely not. I'm a flawed man, and I acknowledge that. But I don't support this demonic stuff. You cannot support the demonic stuff and still turn around and call yourself a Christian. How do you do that? How do you even fix your mind to think that way? And it's happening because God, in the Bible, it says God will send them a strong delusion where they think that the evil things that they're doing is correct. They've been turned over to a reprobate mind. I keep saying that we're living in the last days, and in the last days, we would be persecuted for his name's sake, because the Bible says it. I just want to show this one thing here. Look at this. It says, Will Johnson, you belong on the terrorist watch list because I'm a Christian. As much as y'all seen my videos, and most of the time I put posts out there, you never see me show nudity. How many of you right now have ever heard me curse? I'm just asking. I'm not saying that I never have. But how many of you have ever heard me curse? Do you understand what I'm saying? How many of you have I ever put nudity on the screen? Nudity? No. Have I always told people that I'm not perfect? Yes. I've always done that. And I don't have a problem telling people I'm not perfect. You know why? Because guess what? Hello, I'm not perfect. I tell people I'm not perfect, so you don't expect perfect. Don't expect it here. The only place you can get perfect is through Jesus Christ. 100% hands down. But I don't support this demonic stuff that they're doing. I mean, some of these people are so disgusting that they're saying that Jesus support all this demonic stuff when he doesn't. Absolutely doesn't. All right, let me say thank you to a couple of people before I bounce out of here. And I really do appreciate everyone hitting that share button for me. Laurel, thank you so much for the stars. I really do appreciate it. Lou, thank you so much. JDWC, thank you so much. Victoria, thank you for the cash app. And I believe JDC was a super chat. I missed that last one. Vicky, thank you so much for the stars. And Cecilia, thank you so much for the cash app. Karen, thank you so much. Scott, thank you so much for the blessing. And I lost the last one. Joey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jacqueline, thank you so much for the stars. Patricia, thank you. Joe, thank you. Loletta, thank you. Diana, thank you. George, thank you. Chuck, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, I think that's it. Hey, everybody, thank you again so much for all the blessings. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. Thank you so much for sharing this. Also, please go to my website, uniteamericafirst.com, uniteamericafirst.com. Please support me. Please support me. I need your help to continue this battle. We're getting close. Reality check.